This is going to be Lower Blackrock Spire as a Guardian Druid. So final tank perspective on Classic Dungeon here. This spectacular, super cool place. I had two different runs here that I could have chosen to show. I chose this one because it was shorter than the other one. By only 30 seconds, but still. Healer might not have fully zoned in yet. Okay, there's some noises. Alright, so we've got a Holy Paladin healer here. I had some self-sustaining stuff. It was fine. I did go in a little aggressively. See, I like to wait at the dungeon entrance until I see signs of life from my healer. See them move around a little bit. Problem is, often when I do that, other party members will go in and just start combat on their own. I guess I should do it anyway, in case they don't do that. Because like, if that's going to happen, then we'll end up in combat anyway. And I don't need to initiate that myself at the very start. But I don't know, I feel like doing that kind of sets a precedent for other people deciding, oh hey, alright, well, tank's not moving, I guess I'm going to start combat. Let's move this forward that way. And then I feel like sometimes I'll see that behavior continue throughout the dungeon, and I don't want to see that. I don't know. Just this complicated little dance at the beginning of every dungeon. Sets the tone, sets the pace. There's really no right way to do it in a group of strangers, because everybody's different. Anyway, yeah, so this place is like super duper fun. At least I like it a lot. Not everybody does, but this is one of my favorite dungeons. Really neat to route. As with everything else, feels much better when I do know which way to go. And I have to know which way to go when I am the leader. So I did my research, and I know what to do here. A lot of weird stuff can go wrong here in a spot coming up in just a moment. There's some way you can... Oh, I think I see what it is. So across the way there to the right are some trolls. There's a thing that sometimes happens here where, like, a whole lot of trolls get pulled from Tazalor down below, right up to a spot just across these bridges coming up. And you'll fight, like, you know, 35 of them all at the same time in one spot. And probably die, maybe not. I'm not sure what causes that to happen, though. It might be that you can get too close to an edge and get someone's attention who's across the way, and then they'll call all their friends along the way to come and fight you as they run to your location through, you know, some long elaborate path. Because this whole place is like this twisting, turning sort of tower. Well, it's a spire. Yeah. The Lower Blackrock Spire. It's all stacked on top of itself. So there are all these vantage points where you can see a much later or earlier part of the dungeon, like just across a short gap. But it's a little too wide to jump over and just skip stuff. Like just to my left here somewhere you can see Urok's tribute pile. And then we'll fight High Lord Omok as the first boss in the dungeon, but Urok is much, much later. Somewhere in here. So yeah, since I am the dungeon leader, I can decide to go fight this group of dudes who are standing right in front of the roughshod pikes against the wall, which you need to summon Urok Doomhowl later. Using my bark skin, using my frenzied regeneration, as necessary. Keeps me alive when the paladin's not quite ready. I know how it is to heal as a paladin. Throughput is not great at this level. I don't know, I just feel like a holy paladin is not really good at much of anything while leveling. Maybe it's just me, maybe I don't know how to play it, maybe it's just the way that it's tuned. I hear they're extremely good at max level, but while leveling, not so much. Same with druids. On both counts. Alright, so I got the roughshod pike. Need to pick up, it's pretty inconspicuous, just this little thing against the wall that doesn't really look like anything. But you gotta get that if you want to fight Urok later. Oh hey, we got some extra dudes from the back. Why is that? Has the troll pull thing happened? Is there more than this one Scarshield Legionnaire? I expect there is. They don't usually come in ones. There's a warrior in the party who has threat on something. Not anymore. Maybe it was one of the ogres. Because one of those was stunned for a while. By the way, I also see an arcane mage, and who else is here? Uriat, what are you? You're the arcane mage. Okay, Danny, you're a shadow priest. Got it. Okay. Oh boy, shadow priest and arcane mage in the party. I don't seem to be having threat problems, at least not yet, but those are the two that typically cause those to be a problem. Cause that to be a problem. Arcane Mage just because they do so much damage, Shadow Priest just because they're like broken and weird and generate a lot of threat for no good reason. At least that's what it seems like to me. So I guess this stuff in here is technically optional. In almost all cases I like to do optional bosses, but there's some stuff I'll skip, like... There's one dude in Nomergan who I've only fought like once because he's way the heck out of the way. And a lot of the time when I go in there now, which it's been a while, I haven't leveled a character through those low-level dungeons for a while, but what's his name? Grubbus. It's often not really worth fighting because he just takes way too long. He's not out of the way, you just have to wait for that gnome to bomb out the passages, and it takes forever. But it's part of the experience of the dungeon, so sometimes I do it just for that. So my number 9 on my action bar there is probably new since I last showed this character. That's, I think it's called Soothe. It can dispel an enrage effect on an enemy. I don't find a lot of uses for it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Druid's the only one who gets that option, and Enrage is a specific type of spell effect that can be removed by Soothe. No, Hunters get something too, somehow. My Hunter doesn't have it, though. It's like Tranquilizing Shot or something. I don't know if it's a talent or just in some other specialization that I'm not... Or like, doesn't exist anymore or something. I remember hearing about it, but I haven't seen it myself. But I know I can do it as a druid. This bloodlust effect on this dude I'm targeting now apparently is not an enrage, or else it would be... Yep, that's magic. It would be lit up and dispellable. Since it's a magic effect, I wonder if this priest could purge it. Because priests and shamans can do that. Mages can spell steal. Warlock Spell Hunter, I think, can eat it somehow. Something like that. This priest and mage are not choosing to do anything of the sort, apparently. Maybe you can't. I don't know. I guess only some magic effects can be targeted by those things. Alright, Hylor Omak. Didn't take too long. This is a pretty solid group, just like getting the vibe of this, you know. Everybody knows what they're doing. Things are going very smoothly, and I expect them to continue that way. I'm sure I was quite happy with what I saw here. It always bothered me how slow the bear's running animation is. I want to see if people are going to go through the dangerous way. They're looking at it and don't quite know how to go, so I guess I'll just kill these. You can avoid them down that narrow alleyway there, but you don't have to. Yeah, so playing a Guardian Druid or a Male Tauren, both of those always bothered me just because, since they're both so large, their running animations are going to look a lot slower because just, you know, the travel time of their feet for their bodies to travel as fast as every other character does. It's just going to look real slow. And it feels real good to play something tiny, like a gnome or a Volpera or something. Just because, you know, they look like they run so fast because they're so tiny. It's all the same speed, just like the feeling. The feeling matters. I'll bet there's some toy or something that I could use to shrink myself so it would look like I'm running faster. Maybe I would feel better if I did that. It's just getting silly, but I should look into that. I heard a chop noise over there, so I was trying to investigate it, but it sounded like... It didn't look like anybody was in combat, so I don't know where it came from. I am just ruining this meal that these trolls are having. Not just by walking on their table, but also by killing them, I guess, to be fair. Yeah. Alright, you might go off and find some trouble, because there is trouble over in that direction that you're running. But you died before you got to your friends. Who are just there on the other side of the room, not really paying attention to you. They're not very good friends. Alright, so Shadowhunter Voshkajen coming up is often sort of a test of the party's coordination. Oh, hey, a runner actually found somebody to help them out, okay? Yeah, so if things are going to fall apart with your party, they're likely to fall apart right here at this boss, in this room up here. If this goes well, the rest of the dungeon's probably going to be fine. See, I want these kind of far away from the rest of what's in there. But they cast, and there's nothing I can really do about that as a druid right now. I don't even have an interrupt yet. It comes at level 70. It's ridiculous. Skullbash. The druid's interrupt is pretty cool, though. It's, although it's not ranged, it is also a charge. So it moves me to the caster's location and then interrupts them. So it's kind of like a ranged interrupt, but it moves me to their location. It's kind of cool. I just wonder why it comes so extremely late compared to everybody else's interrupts. That dude was wandering all up there right around Shadowhunter Voshkajen. I guess she just doesn't care about somebody who's running away and looking for help. She was just ignoring him. Hex, right, that's why... Oh, right, I'm a druid! I'm immune to Hex. Okay, yeah, so since I'm already shapeshifted, you can't turn me into a toad. I'm the master of shapeshifting. So those effects just don't even apply to me. That's right. Another perk of playing Druid. But yeah, so Shadowhunter Voshkajen does a hex on the entire party. It can be interrupted, but you gotta be on your interrupts. And I don't have any of those right now. Unfortunately. So everybody gets to wander around as a frog, while I get to continue being a bear. Yep, nobody's bothering to interrupt. Well, too bad for them. Alright, so not like a super amazing party, but, you know, it's fine. We're getting this done. Yeah, dude, nobody is interrupting this. We have 2 good interrupts and 1 that's at least reasonably usable. I think Shadow Priest gets like a slightly longer cooldown on their interrupt compared to the others. It's this weird thing that also silences or something, but it does function as one. No interrupts. Wow. And I mean, Warrior has Pummel. Mage has Counterspell. They're just not opting to use it. That's so weird. Like, why would you not? It's really obvious every time Hex is going off. I don't know, it's baffling. It's one of the most important combat actions, just like... maybe they're just hoping somebody else will do it. I don't know. Alright, yeah, so come down this ramp, go right, 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 and then straight into the hallway here. There's a bunch of trolls kind of nearby. Those looked like they were going to be a problem. We'll be coming through here shortly after this next fight, so if we're going to be fighting them anyway, we might as well do it now. Those might have been avoidable, but, you know, might as well just do it. Attempting to skip things like this just can often come back to haunt you later in the dungeon when you want to get near them in a less ideal situation. It is risky. Hey, look, I'm tiny. There we go. Now my running animation will be more satisfying. Also, my strength is reduced, which... Druids don't really use strength. Maybe my agility is too? Well, that headhunter's getting away. He'll be back. There, now he's dead. There's a berserker here in this room? Oh. I didn't remember there being another dude in between those and War Master Voon. I guess there is, though. Okay. Well, he's not much of anything. Looking at servers. 2 Dalaran, 2 Duskwood. Okay, so 2 pairs of people who maybe came in together, it looks like. Duskwood's not a server I see a lot at all. Dalaran is. That seems to be a reasonably large one. So with that one, it's a little more believable that they could just be 2 people who randomed in together. No one in this party is in a guild. All 5 of us appear to be ungilded. I guess guilds just, like, aren't as much of a thing anymore as they used to be. Maybe? I don't know. There are maybe not quite as many benefits as there were before. So a lot of people just don't bother. I mean, I just kind of prefer being ungilded at this point in the game. I'd like the ability to get online without, like, you know, 30 other people knowing about it and maybe wanting to talk to me and bug me with stuff. Anonymity can be pretty nice sometimes. But having friends is nice too. It's just it takes a lot of effort to build up a good friendship. Sometimes it just doesn't seem worth it. I'm not paying a lot of attention right now to what I'm doing with my buttons. Guardian Druid rotation's simple enough, even with Maul and, you know, all the other fancy toys that I got. For every kind of tank, for the most part, you can just hit buttons as you want to and it'll go fine. Since there are so many other concerns you have for, you know, routing and positioning and threat generation and all that stuff. Seems like tank rotations are kept pretty simple, just so you don't have that extra thing to think about. But there's still a lot of room to really optimize and be sure you're doing things perfectly if you have the extra cycles to spare on it. Paladin Mana's holding out well, so that's nice. These Firebrand orcs in here hit surprisingly hard. I've seen them catch people off guard, so up in this section upcoming, it's kind of important to get only one group at a time. I found if you take 2 or 3 at once, you're likely to die, because your healer will be surprised by like how much damage you're suddenly taking. I have been that healer, and I've also not been and seen it happen secondhand. That right there is a real good opportunity I've found to pull in extra dudes around the corner. If I have a toy for my damage dealers to play with, they usually won't go ahead and start hitting my the targets that I'm trying to reposition around a corner, because you have to not touch them or the line of sight pull just doesn't really work as well. Although if healing spells are going out at the same time, that can disrupt it too. But yeah, not everybody knows what to do if you try to do a pull around the corner like that. So that's why I like to have a distraction for them, just so that they won't, you know, go off and make mischief. Yeah, so Incapacitating Roar is in my 6th slot, where I usually put my interrupt, because it's the closest thing I have to an interrupt. It is a stun that stuns everybody around. It's kind of like a leg sweep. So, you know, it's good. It's just not an actual hard interrupt. They are different. That charge move, Wild Charge, that's a talent you actually have to opt into. And there's something else real good to have in that row that I kind of really wanted. I forget what it is, but if I want to charge like a warrior, I have to take that particular talent. Whatever else it was that I wanted there didn't seem quite as worthwhile as this one did. Those two are a little close to each other, so going around the corner here is just slightly more comfortable. But yeah, okay, so you're looking at somebody who's over there. So the straggling casters just make that not always quite work. I seem to have Immortal Strike on me, or I did. Looks like I waited until the perfect time right after it fell off to do my Frenzied Regeneration. So yeah, my health was dipping a bit, and there was less that heals could do about it than usual. That group over there is a little tough to skip. Yeah, I was watching behind because they're awfully close to the path where you would be skipping by them. So, you know, I tried it, but then watched in case it didn't work, and it didn't, so I was ready to pick them up when it didn't. See, yeah, with a hard interrupt, I could not stun that, but stop him from casting, and, you know, lock him out of his spells for a moment so I could run him back to the center of where everybody else was hanging out there. And that's where interrupts are really strong as a tank for positioning. But I just don't get one of those until 70. Warrior and Paladin get theirs nice and early. Brewmaster has to wait to 35, Guardian has to wait to 70. Don't know about Demon Hunters. Death Knights actually do have to go through a couple of levels after they start at 58 or whatever, before Brain Freeze, Mind Freeze, whatever it is, becomes available. It's like 62 or something, 64 maybe. So I guess that one also is kind of late. But they have Death Grip. So they're already kind of the masters of positioning. So just down at the bottom of this hill we've just started climbing is where the candle skip on Shadowhunter Voshkajin would drop you. The one that I don't like to do that's super messy. But yeah, there's a way to jump out of her chamber to shortcut right down to the beginning of the Skitterweb tunnels. And almost every group I've been in that has attempted it, when someone has insisted that we jump down, a big mess has ensued and people have gotten angry and left. Then we pull in a new party and don't do the skip instead and the dungeon goes fine. That's been my experience. Yeah, Cane Mage really wants to be in battle with Mother Smolderweb. That could have been an accidental tab target. I've done that. It happens. Not really a big deal. We can fight both at once. I just kind of was planning to fight this first spider first, but it's fine. Not really a problem. Oh, don't I discover... Okay, so, right. Immature Venom Sac. Cures Mother's Milk here, which is an effect she puts on me, which sometimes causes, yeah, chance to become immobilized. So I figure, okay, let me use that. Whoa, it pops me out of bear form. And then I clumsily turn into a kitty instead for a moment. So yeah, don't do that. Turns out it does deactivate your shapeshift. Fortunately, nothing was really happening when that happened, but yeah, I could have taken a whole lot of damage all of a sudden there. So there's a threat drop when I get stunned, as it turns out. Gotta have my growl ready as soon as I get unstunned. So somebody else is gonna take some damage for a moment there. But yeah, so that poison effect has a chance to immobilize me, but there's something else that also does it. Like an active attack that she does, I think. I get a lot of Smolderweb eggs through here, which allow me to summon a companion, but you can only have 3 of them at a time, and I've long since had 3 collected, so I just end up throwing away those eggs, releasing the pet spider into the world to just do its thing. Same with the ward carrier that comes later from Halicon or Gizril the Slavener, whichever one it is. Just a lot of pets that can't be my pets. Just have to let them go and be somebody else's pet, I guess. Pets used to be a very different thing than what they are now. Same with mounts. See, it used to be that, like, you'd buy a mount for an exorbitant price from a vendor and then just keep that item in your inventory and use it whenever you want to summon your mount to move faster. But now they just... you use up the item, and it goes into a mount collection that's account-wide, so when one person learns a mount, assuming the others aren't ineligible for some reason, everybody on your account can use that mount. Same with pets, except there's a complicated collection system and pet battles and stuff. Only some pets can participate in pet battles, you know. Yeah, I was trying not to get those ogres at the same time. Alright, so somebody is deciding to get us into combat with more than I was hoping. So I'm ready to use my survival buttons here. Do I have overlapping Ironbark casts at this point? At some point, Ironbark gets the ability to have, like, 3 separate applications, which all keep their own timers. So I can stack it up to 3 times. I might have had it now and not realized it. Because, like, normally with defensive buffs like that, you want to wait until it's just about to expire before reapplying. But with Ironbark, you can have up to 3 at once. After a certain level, and I'm not sure when that level is. Alright, so I gotta do a thing here. Use the head to spawn that. If left to their own devices, these ogres who teleport in here will tear down that head on a pike and disable Uruk Doomhowl's summoning. So you gotta survive for actually kind of a long time right here. So that hallway, down and to the left of where I'm looking right now, that's our entrance into Tazalor. Just behind me, across that gap, is where you first come into Hortimar City. So yeah, it just spirals all around itself and comes back to this spot. You look across the gap and you're back at the beginning of the dungeon. This encounter can be a little rough on the healer's mana bar. There are no breaks and it kind of lasts a long time and these things kind of hit hard. This one's doing fine, she's still pretty much full. Whoa, what happened to that rune on the ground? It made a noise and did an effect. I don't know what that was. Huh. They're where the ogres are teleporting in, but one was not teleporting when that happened. So, I don't know. This kind of goes for a while. There he is. Oh, that's a long fear. Oh, right, yeah. I remember a thing happens here. Oh man, he hits hard. I saw how much my health bar went down there. .5 seconds. That is a long fear. Traditionally, long fears are about 6. Yep, there it goes. If you watch closely, Warrior just walked right off that ledge. Oh, he just barely survived it. I saw it happen. Yep. Down he went. Well, he's at the bottom of the Skitterweb tunnels now. He can make his way back up, I guess. This little trog, Warash, has been wandering around, comes up to say something about Uruk here. He doesn't do much other than that. What's happening up here? Paladin wants to fight these things. Alright. Warrior's coming back. That's fine. I'm looking for a moment right now to type a message. When do I take it? Probably when I have some decent threat built up on this group and can take a break for a moment. Here we go. Yep, I'm saying that because the exact same thing has happened to me. Alright, so do I remember which way is which here? Yeah, this is the way to Quartermaster Zigris. I think about it for a moment. Is it that way? No, it's this way. There's like 2 chambers to the south. The squarish one is Quartermaster Zigris, and he makes more sense to do first. The messier looking one is Halicon, I think is the name, yeah. Big dog. Both optional, both skippable. Halicon also has the hallway to the rest of the dungeon. So yeah, Zigguris is a little more out of the way. Oh wait, he's the one who drops the ward carrier, isn't he? Wouldn't that make more sense? A feral wolf beast would not keep one of its puppies in, like, a pet carrier. So yeah, it's probably Quartermaster Zigguris who drops the pets. Then again, things in this game don't always make sense. Alright, he is here in this combat. He does some annoying stuff. I think he, like, snares me and then runs away. Stun bomb. Oh yeah, he does that too. And then runs away. And shoots with his gun. Maybe he doesn't snare? Yeah, he does. There it goes. Yep, he does both. And somebody's knocking me up into the air. While obnoxious, it doesn't really do much. I guess it would interrupt casting, but it's not high enough to cause fall damage, it's not far enough to even get me out of melee range, I think. That is, though. For like 3 seconds. It's fine. Okay, yeah, word carrier. That is a Zigguris thing. So he drops a bunch of crafting recipes and stuff. Okay, so that's nice. We can go that way. That's where the rest of the dungeon is, but we're going to fight Halicon first. Is she going off to find trouble up there? She might just want to be done with the dungeon at this point, because this is a real long one, you know. This is a reasonably efficient run, and it still takes 45 minutes. Right around this point of the dungeon, everybody's like, are we done yet? How much more is there? It's always like right here in this spot. I wonder how long it would take if you skipped like everything optional. Let's see, so you'd... So skip Omok at the beginning. I guess you could skip Warmaster Voon. Just go straight to... Actually, let's see. So you could go to Shadowhunter Voshkajin as the first boss. Do the candle skip and end up at the bottom of the Skitterweb tunnels. So then that'd be Mother Smolder Web. Skip Zigguris, skip Halicon, skip Gizrul, and go straight for Overlord Wormthalak. Yeah, I could probably do this in like 20 minutes if you did that. Mother Smolderweb might be skippable if you stick to like the very outside of that ledge, but maybe her notice me radius is too large. I don't know. I've never tried. That's not what I come to dungeons to do. I come to a dungeon to actually run the dungeon, not to just like get to the very end as fast as possible. Alright, this room. The orcs right across the way here always find a way to get into combat with us. Almost always. Let's see if it happens this time. It's pretty rare that it doesn't. I'm never sure what causes it to happen, but it does happen a lot. Did I get my bare butt too close to them? Maybe I did. No, they're still just standing there. There they go. Yeah, okay, so somehow their attention was gotten. I don't know how. It just kind of happens. Oh, Blood Axe Warmonger calls for help. That's how. Okay, well, that's clear enough. His yell reaches across the crack and gets them there. Okay. Enthusiastic warrior went over to attack the one across and caught the attention of the other group over there. This is what almost always happens in this spot. It's pretty rare that this goes any other way. So I was ready for it. This is what I was expecting. I'm still somehow keeping threat on those at range. I guess people aren't hitting them too hard from here. And these noises. Each one of those little splats, I think, is one of my thorns hitting the enemy back as they hit me. That's a level 15 talent row thing, I think? So yeah, I can just choose to reflect a little bit of melee damage back at attackers. I'm not sure what else is good in that row. That seemed like the best one. Alright, so cracks. Careful not to fall on these. Yeah, this paladin is just like totally ready to be done with the dungeon. She wants it to move faster. I mean, you're the healer. You know what you can handle, presumably. Can't blame me if it goes wrong. We're basically at the end of the dungeon, so like, there aren't a lot of opportunities left for mischief. So yeah, there is a spot you can fall here where you get right down to Omok's lair. That happened on one of my runs. I think I showed that one. Yeah, I totally did. So yeah, it seems like a huge place, but it's just like all spirally and stacked on top of itself, so it actually doesn't cover all that much physical space. Just densely wrapped around itself. Minimap is absolutely useless in here. The only time you can ever use it for anything is in that hallway with Halakan, Gezrul, and Zigris. Like, for the rest of the dungeon, it just shows nothing you can read at all. Big map's not useful either. You just kind of have to know by landmarks around. It amuses me to no end that Paladin heal casting animations involve a book now. I don't know why that's so funny. They used to be just like, you know, waving your hands around with glowy effects around them like casting any other spell. But now it's a book. At some point the sound design in this game changed a lot. Like, a whole lot of things don't sound the way I remember them sounding. Among those being Paladin healing sounds. Some of them are the same, like the little vroom when it lands on me is pretty much the same, but the, I don't know, it's a little different. Why are we standing inside each other? I don't know, it's just what we're doing. It's working. Oh hey, is he susceptible to stuns? That's interesting. I saw somebody apply a stun on him. I'll make sure I pick up threat on those, because they're going to come right through my casters in the back. Oh, he has a threat drop when he knocks me up in the air, huh? Okay, so that's good to know. Alright, so I should expect to take some heavy damage here, because there are 3 things on me now, and Mortal Strike is going on. Yeah, alright, so should use my defensives. I probably have already. I don't see any defensive buffs on me. Okay, hurting a bit. Frenzied Regeneration on cooldown. Survival Instincts on cooldown. Yeah, I don't have any available. That's unfortunate. Enraged Ogre. Low Health Wormtalok. Enraged Berserker. Yeah, I got a lot on me right now. There was a Lay on Hands. I see the Forbearance. That was the time for that. This is very ouchy. But we got it done. Great. Okay. What a cool dungeon. This one is always a treat, even though it takes, like, 45 minutes at best. There, 45 minutes well spent. Good stuff. Good stuff. And totally decent rewards, too. Nice. Alright, and that's probably the last we'll be seeing of Classic Dungeons during this series, unless I do something special. Cool. What a good send-off. See you next time.